This is my life coach full broadcast and welcome. This week we're going to be talking about a very important topic, I believe very important, and that's the topic on rejection. Rejection. Um, Rejection happens in life, it happens to everyone. Everyone at some point, and you were rejected, or you're being rejected, and you're going to be rejected. So it's very important to know how to respond and how to deal with rejection because it influences how you flow in life. Just maybe starting on a lighter note, one time I saw a post somewhere on social media and it said, "You cannot be liked by everyone. You are not money." That was so funny. To me, it was so funny. I laughed so hard. It was funny. You cannot be liked by everyone. You are not money. That's why everyone cannot like you. And I believe, very funny to me, but in that sentence, there's a message that I believe relates to rejection. Because when we feel rejection or we feel like we've been rejected, it's because there were certain expectations. We're expecting to be liked, we were expecting to be accepted, to be embraced, and that did not happen. So we feel rejected. And I believe the key, because there's really nothing wrong in, I believe, expecting to be embraced, to be accepted, to be loved. But I think the problem is when you believe that everyone will like you, everyone will accept you. That's where real disappointment comes in. So I believe it's very important to dig in on this subject of rejection. I remember one time I worked, when I graduated from nursing school, I worked at a hospital, and the floor that I worked on as a registered nurse was a transplant floor. So I had, an experience of working with patients pre and post transplant. And one of the things that happens is when a patient receives a transplant, if you were ever to talk to somebody who has received a transplant, what happens is after they've received the organ transplant, they are put on what we call anti-rejection medication or immunosuppressants. Because what happens is our body is built in a way that any foreign object comes in, it builds an army to go and fight that foreign object. That's how our body fights infection. It's a good thing. It fights infection by rejecting certain foreign objects that come into the body. But now, when it comes to transplantation, organ transplantation, we don't want the body to reject this new organ that's coming to help a defective organ. So they put these patients, the people, on anti-rejection medication. But in life, guess what? Unfortunately, we don't have medication, anti-rejection medication. We face rejection probably pretty much every day, but we don't have medication that we can go to the doctor and say, you know what, I'm facing rejection. Can you put me on anti-rejection medication? No, there's nothing like that. But there is a way. We're going to look at ways of dealing with rejection so that you live a purposeful life. So also let me go into the definitions that are out there for rejection. What is rejection? Number one, from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it states uh, rejection is the act of not accepting, not believing, or considering something. So probably when you went through rejection, you felt all this or some of this. The act of not accepting, you were not accepted, you were not believed, you were not even considered. Not even considered. And when that happens, you feel rejected. Sometimes there are feelings of, I'm not worthy. And that's one thing that you then need to fight when you are dealing with rejection. And number two, what is rejection? According to goodtherapy.org, rejection can be defined as the act of pushing someone or something away. The act of pushing someone or something away. Go, we don't need you here. You are not needed at this workplace. Maybe you've applied for a job, and when you get that nice letter saying, oh, unfortunately, you get that sense of you're being pushed away. You don't qualify to work in this organization or at this company. So what happens when you get a no in life? You know, this definition of pushing something or something away, it reminded me of, I don't know if some of you work or have worked on a manufacturing plant. Whenever you're manufacturing something, it has to meet a certain standard. And if it doesn't meet a certain standard, they'll probably say, it's a reject. We don't need it. So they'll probably push that item away, either just saying it doesn't qualify to go further to the next stop. We're putting it in there, either in the trash can, just putting it aside, but it's being pushed away. But it got me thinking after reading this definition that sometimes that a manufacturing plant, you will find out there are maybe employees or people outside of the company that will say, you know what, I have use for that stuff that you're calling a reject. I have use for it. So please don't throw it away. Next time, keep it for me and I'll come and pick it up. Why? Because he has use for what somebody is calling a reject. And that's exactly how you should view life. When rejection happens in your life, what goes through your mind? How do you respond? I want you to know that you yourself are not a reject. You might have been rejected, but you are not a reject. That's where some people get stuck. They get a no. They get and they interpret that to mean I am useless. I don't have anything to give. I don't have anything to contribute. I am a reject. No, 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 no. God does not create rejects. God does not create junk. The fact that you have been rejected does not mean that you are a reject. You are not. You are very useful. You've got a purpose. The fact that you were created, you are here on earth, you are still breathing, you've got a pulse, it means you are needed. So rise up from that rejection. Refuse to stay in that place of rejection. See it as God redirecting you. Change your mindset. Oh, rejection is part of life. It will happen. Yes, there are different levels of rejection. And sometimes the deeper the rejection or the type of rejection, sometimes the difficult it is to cope with the rejection. But I want you to change your mindset. Whenever you face rejection, change your mindset. You yourself are not a reject. You are not useless. You are very useful. You are needed and you've got a purpose. So anyway, I will end here for today. I want you to listen to the next broadcast where I'm going to be talking about the types of rejection. In the meantime, please go ahead and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram on My Life Coach 4. God bless you, and remember, you are not a reject. You are not a reject.